What's up, guys? It's May 17th, 2020. This is the Bladed Wedge Twitch show. I'm here with my good friend, Alex Cecco. How you doing, man?
Good, man. Great day. I feel like we're kind of starting to get back to some normalcy with an awesome little skins
Yeah,
match today.
absolutely. We're definitely going to be getting to that later. But, just wanted to kick off the show and give you guys a reminder that we're just guys who love watching golf, talking golf, and most importantly, playing golf. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to play golf yet, even though we had an absolutely beautiful weekend. Cecco, were you able to get on the course?
I was not. Roommate's birthday, and so we were kind of doing some celebrating on Saturday. But similar position to you, it's tough to get tee times nowadays at some of these public courses. Like I tried to call a couple courses, and
Yeah,
just
that
no
was my
answers.
biggest problem also. As you guys know, I'm in Manhattan, so it's already not the easiest to get tee times, especially at the public courses. But with Saturday being, the first really nice day of the year, as well as every, golf being one of the activities that's actually allowed to happen. Every tee time was booked. Now I did try to get them a little bit later in the week, but every tee time for Saturday and Sunday at all four courses I called were booked. So I'm in the process of booking mine for next weekend because obviously Memorial Day is going to be crazy as well. But I'm itching to get out there.
Yeah, who you got some buddies up
Yep,
there who
got
you
a
gonna
couple
play
friends
with?
up in Connecticut at some. We got a couple options of
Nice.
courses we're trying to play, but public, private, they're all just they're packed right now. So I'm really hoping that starts to ease up, but I'm not sure it's going to until there's a lot more activities allowed. But we'll get through it. We'll figure it out. And then you and I got to get down. I got to get down to Philly, or we got to be in New Jersey and find a good course to play coming up as well.
Yeah, if we can do South Jersey, there's a couple courses down there that are pretty sweet that we can get on and we can play. They're like nicer public tracks. It's tough because in Philly, like you don't really have like a lot of courses in the area, like in specific like in the city. So you got to go out to the suburbs. But if you go into Jersey, there are a couple courses like right over the bridge that are sweet to play. So
Yeah,
definitely
we'll
got to get that
definitely
in
do
the
that.
works.
We're gonna move quickly today to the Bladed Wedge tee sheet. Where we talk every week about all around everything that's happened around the world of golf and the main headlines. Obviously, today the big headline was the DJ Rory versus Ricky and Matt Wolff TaylorMade driving relief match. Super exciting, just ended, so we kind of have our raw opinions on how we felt about it. So just kind of kicking it off. What were your big takeaways?
It was great. It definitely exceeded expectations from my end. Like we got to see a Uber
Yep, that was
exclusive
great.
course, Seminole. Didn't realize how private, super private that golf course is. Like up there with Pine Valley, Augusta. So that was super cool. We got to see some of the best players in the world play, tee it up, carrying their own bag, shorts, relaxed environment, which was sweet. And the production of the entire show or the entire match was pretty good. Some areas where we can definitely see some improvement moving forward, but all in all, I really
Yeah,
enjoyed
totally
watching it.
agree. I think, a good spot. Maybe we'll just start off with talking about the production. Definitely agreed. I think it was a really beautiful production in terms of showing off the course and showing off, the players' talent, especially with the limited resources they had. I think the filming crew did an amazing job. I will say, I think,
Yep.
a lot of it was maybe a little bit overproduced in terms of the announcing as well as maybe some of the guests they brought in. I would have chosen people who are more actually in the sport, could give you insight on the players' games. You really knew that you had a highly golf intelligent audience, and so I think you could have played to that and made the production not necessarily for the viewers, but more about the actual play of the event. And I feel like they tried to make it a little bit more than it was. It was really just a small event where they were just playing a skins game and we were trying to raise money for charity. And I think they blew it up a little.
Yeah, in these events, what they have to realize is less is more. like the more focus you have on the actual four players playing and their interactions between each shot, them collaborating together, that is really where the viewer loves to see, like kind of imagining themselves out there playing with their friends in a similar type of environment. So I think when they brought in Bill Murray, that was just kind of a disaster. Well, Bill Murray's the type of personality where he's out there on his own island and he doesn't really have an idea of like what's going on. So he was trying to like interact with Tarika and have like a normal conversation, and Tarika was trying to do more of a formalized interview. And I think it just threw Tarika off way too much versus when Tarika interviewed Trump, it was more of a formalized interview, which went a little bit better. But what were your thoughts on that?
It was definitely interesting to bring Trump on. Obviously, I'm sure they would have thought that was an awesome exclusive guest. Obviously, more polarizing in the political spectrum. But, it was kind of an interview. I thought it probably lasted a little bit too long. But, if you can get the president of the United States to come and do the charity broadcast, like, you have to do it. Like I said, I wish they would have gone with just more player-centric, like you mentioned, and really focused on the interactions. And I really think part of it was those guys weren't that close off the course. I think getting a group that was more like the Spieth, JT, Ricky, like those guys would have been a little bit more interesting on the banter. But even with these guys, when they did start talking about putts, when they started talking about strategy, was the interesting part for me.
Yeah, and there's so much. I saw a ton of. And obviously, we were going to see this like, next should be, the spring break crew, Smiley, JT, Ricky, and Jordan. And I get it. Like that's like what everyone kind of wants to see. But I feel that's been so overplayed where even if we do get those four out playing, I don't think the banter and trash talk would have been any greater than what it was today. Just because there's a million plus people watching, like, what are they actually going to say that they would say when a million people aren't watching? You know what I mean?
Like, you have to be filtered. It's also for charity. So, like, the filter just has to be there.
Exactly. So, I thought the players were integrated well together. Obviously, there was a TaylorMade aspect to the choosing of the players, but I still think they both mixed pretty well. We did see some early chirps from Rory, and like the comment about him winning like 2 FedEx Cups, $25 million.
I saw that. I saw the highlight. I saw it live, but was he upset that Wolf didn't give him the putt? Is that what it was? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, it was like 4 or 5 footer, and Wolf didn't give it to him, and then he kind of came out with he said that, and then on the next hole, Wolf pulled the like, "Hey DJ, is this a waist bunker?" Going back to the PGA, which I thought that was a little bit over the top, but still good. I mean, Wolf's 21 years old and he's out playing with the 3 best players in the world.
He definitely showed that. And, he was a little rattled, and I think he was like in terms of the actual golf, not the long drive or any like those gimmicks. I think it was pretty obvious to notice the difference between him and the more seasoned guys. But listen, that's just how it is. He probably had some nerves. Like, it's a big spectacle for a 21-year-old who's a year out of college and who's definitely going to be where they're at. I'm not saying that he shouldn't have been out there or anything like that. I just think obviously he's very young in his career.
I did not realize he was that young. I thought he was like more the JT crew, like 25, 26. And when they said he was 21, I was like, oh my gosh, wow, that's super young.
Crazy. How do you think like the no caddies and then obviously and then wearing shorts went?
I think the no caddies was fine. I think we saw it more so in their play. Like I think when they actually have someone to strategize with, get distances, and someone who knows their game. Yeah. I think it would have helped them play a little bit better. But again, it goes back to making this as normal as possible and relating it back to the everyday golfer who's out there, majority of the time carrying their own bag. And, Seminole's not like a crazy, like, it didn't seem like it was too long of a golf course where it like was unwalkable or like the guys were tired. Like they were completely fine doing it.
And the shorts thing, it definitely took me a second to get used to them wearing shorts, just because obviously at normal events they're wearing pants, but I don't hate it. I don't think the PGA Tour, I saw some people on Twitter saying, why don't they just wear it? I just don't think the PGA Tour will ever allow them to wear shorts on a regular basis, just because of like the formality that it brings wearing pants, which can be debated, but I just don't think it's a realistic thing to try to get the PGA Tour to do.
Well, they can do it in practice rounds,
but
right?
not during the actual
event. Practice rounds is fine. I don't see an issue with that at all. One thing I do wish they would do is mic up the players more. Like I could see us getting to a point later down the road where like you have the featured group, like more than just the featured group mic'd up, where you're actually maybe it's like the top 15 guys who are in the hunt on Sunday, like have them all mic'd up so that we can actually hear them more than just what you can hear on like a hot mic.
Absolutely, and you got to think like in other sports, guys are mic'd up, and there's a lot more strategy that could be taken from those hot mics. In golf, your strategy that you're performing is mostly on yourself, and so that worry isn't as predominant in golf as is in some other sports. But I think moving on to the actual match, Ricky was an absolute stud out there, making 7 birdies. What did you take away from his game?
Yeah, I thought him and Rory looked the best out of the 4. I think Ricky loves Seminole. He's won the pro member there, which from doing some research and listening to the broadcast, the pro member there sounds like probably one of the coolest golf tournaments you could ever play.
So give a quick
or like strive to play in as an amateur. Yeah, so every member at Seminole teams up with a pro. They pick a pro and they play in it's like a net and gross better ball tournament at Seminole. It kicks off with like a cocktail party on Sunday. And then I think it's like it's a 4-day event. And if you win the event, you get your name up on the wall in the locker room at Seminole. And supposedly this event goes way back to like, it was started in like 1930s. It was started. And when it was started, it was the big money guys playing in it. Like I forget, it was like a lot of different presidents played in it. And they were saying that at sometimes like 6-figure cash deposits would like exchange hands. Like guys would play like for huge money. But it's calmed down like as it's grown. But now it's like a really big event down there, and it's super prestigious to play in. And I gotta feel like if you play in that event at some point in your life, you've done something.
That's awesome. I was gonna say, how did we get the invite to that? That sounds amazing. But they did say, Tom Brady just joined that club. I think they mentioned that on the broadcast. So I'm sure with the exclusivity of it, it's probably pretty tough to be a member, and then even harder to get the invite to be able to participate in that event. But that's pretty cool. And then, what did you kind of take of DJ's play? I know he kind of honestly didn't play very well in terms of losing his driver on a couple of holes, missing a lot of putts. But what was your takeaways there?
Yeah, I mean, you saw it from the first 2 holes. First hole, he's 100 yards out and makes 5. Second hole, he's like, I think he was still like 115 yards out. Granted, I think he was in like one of those waist bunkers, but still made 5. So he started out bogey and just looked slow. The rest of the day just didn't really hit driver well. He had a couple like moments of truth where he got up and down, which got him and Rory like 3 skins. He just didn't seem like he was too into it. which fits his personality. It's kind of like roll out of bed, get to the range, hit a couple wedges, go to the first tee. But other than that, he helped Rory get the win.
And then
so
kind of talking about that win, it started off with Rory and DJ playing well and getting a couple skins, and then really the majority of the match was dominated by Ricky, basically just Ricky, in terms of, from 4 to 17, he was just lights out. And then, the kind of skins building up and then pushing 18 after it looked like it was Rory's and DJ's to win, going to the chip off or the wedge off, whatever you want to call it, closest to the pin. And then Rory sticking that was unbelievable to end it. At first I was kind of thinking, this is going to be a gimmicky, closest to the pin. But, you kind of have to provide those moments for drama when you're doing a show like that. And to have the world's number one player step up to the tee on the last shot of the thing, on the last shot of the day or of the round, and stick it inside a pretty good shot by Wolf. That was a great way to end it, and it did kind of feel like a sudden ending, but it was cool to see.
Yeah, that's the spotlight it needed. Everyone, when Rory stepped up and he was the last one to hit, I knew he was going to put it inside Wolf. There wasn't really a doubt in my mind. And plus he was carrying DJ all day. So good for Rory. I think he deserved to win it. He hit a good shot in there. But at the end of the day, it's still it probably wasn't that big of a deal for Rory. I think he's more worried about getting majors this fall. That's what's on his mind.
At the end of the day, it was awesome that they donated all the money to charity. Do the guys care? What they care about is that the money's being donated. I don't think they're that worried about it. I think that they feel like, I bet you Ricky and Wolf feel like they won the match just because they won it in the first 18 holes. But it was a good dramatic ending, and the worst thing, the thing you don't want to see in those types of events are, hey, it's over at 15, right? You got to see it come down to the end. So it worked out in that respect. And then last kind of question on this before we touch on it in the rotating topic later. There was some rumors that Rory and DJ were planning to play together, or at least thinking about playing together for the Zurich Classic this summer. Do you, after seeing this event today and seeing how they played together, do you think there's more of a chance they play together or less of a chance?
I think there's more of a chance just from seeing how they played today. Obviously, they probably weren't at 100%, given that they haven't played a lot of golf over the past 9 weeks. The one thing I will say is it's funny how they kind of have different personalities. Rory's pretty intense and DJ's pretty laid back. But I feel like the different personalities kind of complement each other. And I think that fits well in a team environment where you could kind of ham and egg each other, where if Rory isn't playing well and then Dustin comes in and plays well, and then when Dustin isn't playing well, Rory's playing well. I think that's kind of the framework that you need for these team
totally
events.
agree. And then the one thing I would just add to it is, they're both very good drivers of the ball. I would say with Rory's improvement, he's probably a little bit better of a putter now. But where they differ, as I see, when DJ plays really well, his wedges are very good, and when Rory plays really well, his mid iron and long irons are really good. So they can kind of complement each other on that aspect as well, as they both hit bombs. They're going to have a player who's really comfortable with any shot on any type of hole. So I think that their iron games complement each other really well as well. So go ahead.
If DJ could ever get back to the way he played at Oakmont when he won the U.S. Open, I think that would be
It's really
scary.
hard to watch him
That would be a scary
not be
duo.
able to hit his wedges tight and like not putt well, because when he was playing at his peak, he was so good.
Yeah, and he just has that shot in his bag where and I saw it a couple times today where he tried to go to it and it just didn't work. Where he goes to the right side of the tee box, tees it up, and plays that little controlled cut that goes like 310. And today he would pull it and it would go way left, or he would just push it and it would go way right. So it wasn't. You just kind of tell it wasn't all there. But when it is there, he's scary.
Totally agree. So moving on, just wanted to touch on this quickly. Obviously, we have basically running this back next week with a little bit of a different format. Tom Brady and Phil Mickelson versus Peyton Manning and Tiger Woods. So that's going to be super exciting. It'll probably be pretty similar to what we saw today, but obviously having the quarterbacks in there as a partner. I'm interested to see what they take from the event today and change for the event next week. I think that there'll be some updates to some of the stuff we talked about, especially around the production and really letting the players. I think with having the amateurs there, you're going to see a lot more yucking it up or trash talk, especially with those guys maybe not taking it as much serious. So they're probably a little bit more used to being in front of the camera during the rounds and things like that. So I'm definitely excited about that. But I really wanted to just touch on is who do you think who are you going to take as a winner next week, and then I'll give mine as well.
Yeah, so, and I don't know if you saw this, but JT is also one of the on-course reporters next week.
That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, so I think he'll bring some extra light to it. I think if he was in there today, there would have been a little bit more of a spark when it comes to.
Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
They needed someone young today to bring it in there. This isn't the Masters. Yeah. Don't give me Mike Tirico. Give me some of the young guys. Even as the announcer. But go ahead.
Yeah, so I think that'll be really cool to see JT in there next week. He'll bring an added light to the day. But I'm sticking with what we talked about last week. I really just think Phil and Brady are going to go out and dominate. It just feeds Phil's game, plain and simple. So I'm gonna take him all day.
I'm on the same boat. I'm taking Tom and Phil as well. I honestly had the same type of feeling, not as extreme, about Ricky. Just kind of feeding his game, going out there, being able to make a lot of birdies, and kind of being more set up for the format. So I'm gonna ride that gut, and that match will be next Sunday. I think it's a similar time. I'm not sure what channel it is, so we'll post it on our Instagram. So make sure you give us a follow there. And then moving on to our rotating topic, we are going to do two today, centered around the match that we just watched. So we're going to do the skins match, most valuable player and least valuable player. So let's start out with most valuable. Cecco, who you got?
Taking Ricky, 7 birdies, just says it all. Really carried the team, especially down the stretch. I think Wolf didn't play as bad as you may think, but yeah, I'm gonna take Ricky MVP and probably played the best out of all 4 of them today.
I would say that's Ricky obviously played well, but I got to go with Rory. Rory carried DJ a lot of the day as well. I think DJ, in my opinion, played a little bit better than Wolf, but Rory was strong the whole day. Had 2 putts lip out as well, which if those go in, this probably isn't even a match. So just kind of adding that in there, and then at the end of the day, who hit the shot to win the whole match? Rory. It was the last shot. He had one to do it. He had to stick within 15 feet, and he did it with the crosswind. So it's hard for me to go against him, so I got to go with Rory. And then moving on to least valuable, I think from our most valuable answers, you can determine our least valuable. But who you have?
I'm going to go DJ. I think DJ just didn't really come out, didn't really have it today, which I expected different, but I guess he hasn't really been playing much and is trying to tune his game up for the return of the PGA Tour. But yeah, I'm going with DJ.
Yep, I agree. Someone said on Twitter, they said something like, DJ is playing like he learned about this match on Friday. So I thought that was good. But I'm gonna go with Wolf. I think, like I mentioned earlier, he was just young. He's only 21 in the spotlight with three of the best players in the world, and three of the guys who have been the best players in the world for the last 10 years. These guys are absolute studs and have played at the highest level for a long time. Are used to this type of environment and intensity, and he just kind of came out. I think it was a little bit over his head. That being said, mid-round, later in the round, he did calm down and really pull it together. But I definitely think out of the four, he was the weakest link. But it makes sense with his age and his experience. I think at some point we're going to be looking back and thinking about the way his game is now and be like, wow, he's gotten so much better, because I think his ceiling is so high.
I wonder how much I agree with you, but I wonder how much Wolf shoes.
I know
the shoes he was wearing today. I guess he was auctioning them off after. I could see them going for. They were sweet one, but I could see them going for a lot of money. Yeah, we should definitely throw a little. I think $5,000.
I was gonna go 15 grand. Yeah.
15. Yeah, I like between 5 and 15.
I think that just the idea of like it going to charity, someone's gonna just be like, "Oh, those are sick. Like, I would love them." The only problem with shoes is that it's only one size, so like you can't really wear them unless it's your size. But I don't know if you're wearing them if you buy them.
Yep. No, you got to get them signed and like frame them.
Cool. Yeah. So we're going to kind of wrap up. So just as a reminder, we are still looking for help, potentially for a third for our show, as well as anyone who has a background in social or video editing. Just shoot us an email, bladedwedge@gmail.com. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, as well as Twitch to get reminders of when we're going to be live. Next week, we are planning a show on Sunday night. We're still trying to work on if we're going to have a recap of the Tiger Phil match in that show. But if we don't, we'll have a separate, smaller show up Monday or Tuesday, just centered around a recap of that match. And then to finish today's episode, we're going to have our interview with Wynton Munch. We recorded this earlier this week. Wynton is one of my good friends since I was in first grade. We grew up together, went to high school together, played in the high school golf team. He played number 1 our senior year. I played number 2. It was a really great interview. He's living in Florida now, he's playing on the mini tours, trying to make it to the PGA Tour. So if you've ever wondered anything around, what does those mini tours look like? What does it take to be on them? How good you actually have to be? And then what are the steps to get to the PGA Tour? Those are questions Cecco and I had, and so we asked them, and it was really insightful for us. So I'm sure you guys will find it as well. So we're really looking forward to kind of showing you guys that. And feel free to shoot us a DM if anything comes up, if you have any other questions. But thanks for watching, and here's our interview. What's up, guys? Super excited today. We have Winton Munch here for the interview segment at the Bladed Wedge Twitch show. Winton and I have been good friends since first grade and grew up together in school, and then played high school golf our senior year. Winton was number 1. I was number 2. Unfortunately, those positions weren't that competitive, the difference between 1 and 2. But Winton is now living down in Florida for most of the year, playing the mini tours, trying to make it to the PGA Tour. So super excited to have him on today, as he is one of my good friends, but also to kind of get some insight into what his life looks like now and what it's like coming up through the ranks. So how you doing, man?
Hey, buddy. It's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. I think this is, including technical difficulties, this is the 3rd time that you've come on to do an interview. So really appreciate you doing that and taking the time out of your busy day.
Of course, man. Yeah, of course.
So
I like doing this stuff.
You're down in St. Pete, right?
Yeah, yep. So I live downtown St. Pete. Been down here now. Let's see, it's my third winter down here. So live here for most of the year, like November to June, November to first week of July. Belong to a club not far from me, St. Petersburg Country Club. They've been a great spot for me to do what I need to do. It's my office, my own little getaway. So it hasn't been too bad of a place considering that we haven't seen rain in a while. So it's just been sunny and 80 every day.
That's awesome. And you guys can still play through, even though with coronavirus, right?
Yeah, I haven't taken the day off from playing Just like it happened. It was like COVID was down here, and our course they went through all the steps with the foam noodle and all kinds of cup adjustments and stuff. We fought the rules a little bit, got in some trouble. It's great. It's a good time. But yeah, no, we've been able to keep playing for the entire time. Just been, the social distancing, playing separate carts and not touching pins.
Now, do you have a bunch of buddies who you also play with down there, or what's kind of the scene like?
Yeah, so our club is pretty unique in that our head pro set up a little program that incentivizes professionals to be a part of the club, and just like any group of members, everyone loves to be able to flex and say that yo, we got pros at our club. They love that, and so there's 5 or 6 of us that are kind of, they bounce back and forth, but there's 4 of us, including myself, that we play every day and practice together all the time. And they're all in the same boat as I am, looking for status or currently have conditional on something or traveling to Monday qualifiers and mini tour events. And so it's fun to develop that group, because now we want to travel together, split the cost for a hotel or rental car when we're all trying to play in the same tournament. So one of them actually, both are from up north. One's from Buffalo, New York. The other one's from Michigan, actually. So he went to Grand Valley, not far from Hope. And so it's kind of like a small world type thing. A lot of Michigan people down in West Florida. So run into a lot of guys I played against, especially going to mini tour events. I'll run into a lot of guys that I played against in high school and college. And we just kind of all went from the north to the south because can't play golf in the winter in the north.
Totally makes sense. And then when you guys are kind of playing together at the club, are you guys playing different games, or are you guys competitive with each other, or how does that work?
So it's usually it's good competition, because we're all trying to beat each other. I mean, the better you can. It's a lot of fun, because we got to know each other well enough to where the minute someone's going really deep, you start chirping them and just see let's see if we can falter. It's good. So we play a lot of good games. Money games is usually you can't play for nothing. You got to play for a little bit of something. And we do a lot of team stuff too. So if we got 4-ball, we'll play 2v2. The other day we've done, actually, because of COVID, we've tried to make things interesting. Not just playing the same golf course all the time, but we'll do Ryder Cup style stuff. So we'll do a 4-ball, and then we'll do a team ball, and then we'll do an alternate shot. And the alternate shot actually was interesting. It was really fun, just because you got to see, you had to worry about hitting a good shot, but also you had to worry about not putting your partner in a position where they have to do something crazy, which I thought was a lot of fun. It was that format in Ryder Cup setting, terrifying.
Yeah, that's crazy. And obviously, if you hit a bad shot on your own ball, it's you deal with the consequences. But if you hit a bad shot on alternate shot, then you're really sticking it to your partner.
Yeah, and it's kind of fun to banter back and forth. You put them in bad positions. You're this is where I live.
Welcome.
So, but no, there's a good level of competitiveness to help each other push toward getting each other tournament ready, because nothing's more fun than going to tournaments and seeing each other, and then obviously all of us want to get in, but there's only a limited amount of spots for tournaments. So it's only one winner too. So
right.
we, as much as we love competing with each other and practicing, there's always that element of I still want to beat you.
That's awesome.
I guess that's a good segue into kind of the next topic and something that's always been blurry to me is how do you go from playing mini tours to cornferryweb.com and then to ultimately the PGA Tour. I know it's pretty complex and there's a lot of loopholes, but can you kind of walk through the different options you have from trying to get to the ultimate PGA Tour?
Yeah. So mini tours are pretty simple. You just pay up front and you join. You pick an event, you pay it, you go to it, and play as best you can. And There's some decent money in most of the mini tours. And that's where those single day, like there's a lot of them are like single day or 2-day events. And those are good for like prepping for Monday qualifiers because you got to go all out and if you want to beat everyone. But just like staying in a competitive mindset and playing those events, like all those guys are just as good as, you know, like if you take the top half of any of the fields of these mini tour events, all of them can compete at the top level. Like that's what makes it so crazy and paper thin the competition. But anyways, so like mini tours are pretty simple. You just pay a fee and you get into the tournament. Then you go into like Canada Tour and Latino Tour, and then you have to Monday qualify, and those are usually, you know, you jump in, you pay for the qualifier, and there's 100 and some guys for 4 or 5 spots, and then that's kind of like Latino Tour, and I think there may be a couple more spots. I think it might be more like 6 to 8 for some events, depending on the field. And then Corn Ferry, you pay the same thing. You pay a fee, go to a spot, and there's usually 2 sites on the same day for like 3 to 4 spots in each site. So 7 or 6 to 8 total. Like I went to the one for the Lecom down in Sarasota, the Suncoast Open, and played on one course, and 63 won it. And I shot, probably one of my best ball striking days, and just had a cold putter and shot 70, and I missed it by 4, like 76 didn't get in. But then you go to the other course, and 68 won it, and 70 got in.
How do they split up the courses? Is it just random, or how does
random?
That work?
Like it's random when you sign up. And it's kind of like, all right, Winton, you sign up here. Trey, you go here.
Yeah.
Cecco, you go here. And you don't find out until you get your pairing. So that was an interesting like format of how they did that. I played on both those courses for that event anyway, so like I didn't really care which one. But anyway, so like there's that route of doing Monday qualifiers, and then there's Q School. In Q School for like Latino and Canada tours, there's only one stage. It's 4 rounds. Play as best you can. First place.
Do you have to get an invite to? Do you have to get an invite to Q School, or do you sign up, or do you have to like submit?
You sign up and you pay a very, very pretty penny.
Really? Okay.
Damn.
Oh yeah, it's expensive. So like that's what makes Q School so hard. You hear like the stories of like, yeah, like I wanted to do Q School but ran out of money and you know, before you know it, like it racks up quick. So like you pay the money for that, you play 4 rounds based on how you do, determines your status if you get any, and then that's for like Latino and Canada. And then Corn Ferry, there's 4 stages. There's first stage, second stage, and final stage. And you don't have to go to pre if you have existing status on like Canada or any of the tours. If you have status, you can skip the pre, but you still have 4 rounds first stage, 4 rounds second stage, and 4 rounds final stage.
Damn,
that's crazy.
And so you're just like, it goes in. There's one like they're spread out amongst a month in between each one. So that's why you see like most of like at least last year, like Corn Ferry stuff. It starts in like August, and then final stage is like November, and then they have like December, and then that first tournament is like that crazy one in the Bahamas where you see like the guys shooting 82 or 84 and they're hitting 4 iron from 125 on that one par 3.
Yeah.
So like it goes kind of back to back to back. And then so the Corn Ferry, it's like that's the way to get in, because there is no Q School directly to the PGA Tour anymore, and they've made it so that you can only get like significant status by going through the Corn Ferry Tour. So you got to go through Q School for that. That's the ultimate goal, is like get the Corn Ferry Tour, get a hot week, get a hot couple of weeks, get in the top 25 to earn your card for the next.
That's awesome. And then in the Corn Ferry Tour, I think it's like top 25 get their PGA Tour at the end of or the Tour card at the end of the year, and then do a certain amount get to retain their Corn Ferry card. After that.
So I believe it's 26 through 75 keep their card.
Yep.
And then after that, then I think the guys that have conditional from 75 and on, I believe they have to play in a certain events in the reshuffle and play well enough
to keep it.
Like you make a few cuts and then you earn enough money, enough points that you keep your card. But then at the very end of the year of the Web, there's the Web final, or it used to be the Web finals, Corn Ferry finals. So it's like the Corn Ferry version of the FedEx Cup playoffs.
Okay.
So those 4 tournaments are, once you get in, you get into those events. So there's the 25 from the regular season, and then those 4 events are like a mini playoff section.
Okay.
So when you play in those 4 events, if you get in the top 25 in the money list of just those 4 events, you also get your tour card.
Oh, really? Okay, so
that's
there's the whole season, and then there's the playoff. And the playoff, those 4 events in general, if you get top 25 in the money list on those 4 events, that's another way to qualify.
Exactly. So then that's how you see Victor Hovland. He played. He didn't play. I don't think he played at maybe 5 events in the Corn Ferry Tour, and it was the very last event. And then he got in and played the finals, and then won one of the finals events, and ended up getting second or third on the money list because he top 10 in all 4 of them, and got a direct bid straight into getting his tour card.
And how do you qualify to be in the playoff?
It's you have to have made enough money. If you have to have made enough money to qualify for the top 125 on the PGA Tour, or top maybe it's 150 on the PGA Tour. And then that gets you in, or you're in the top 75 on the Corn Ferry.
Okay,
something
like that.
Yeah, so as long as you were making cuts and playing somewhat well, so they're the guys that didn't make it in the top 125 of the FedEx Cup. So 126 through maybe 175, those guys go to Web finals or Corn Ferry finals, try to earn their card back through that.
Okay. Cool, yeah, so, I really appreciate that because that's something that Cecco and I have always kind of been wondering about, and I'm sure everyone who's listening, doesn't really have that insight. I mean, it definitely sounds like a grind, and you really gotta get hot at the right times when you can get the card or when you can get the status. So, super interesting there. So we are kind of running out of time. I did want to touch on one thing and just kind of ask you about what your schedule looks like the rest of the year, and then we'll hit rapid fire questions and then we'll wrap it up. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that sounds great, man. So my schedule looks like I'm going to go back to Michigan. I'll be there for the summer. And I'll be going to Colorado for the Colorado Open and the Corn Ferry event at TPC Colorado. Those 2 events kind of go hand in hand. They're just week after week. And then I'll come back and I'm going to try to do some Canada Tour Mondays, as well as I sent a letter into the Rocket Mortgage, hoping that possibly I could get into that, as well as
if you get that. Like I said before, if you get that Rocket Mortgage, let me know. I'm going to be there. I want to support the boy on that. That sounds awesome.
If that would be a really, really big event if I could get into that. So yeah, it's just whatever tournaments that we can find to travel to play in. I want to do the John Deere Monday again. And then trying to find Corn Ferry Mondays, and leading up into hopefully there's still a Q school for Corn Ferry this year.
So that's kind of
I was talking with my buddy. What's up?
That's kind of the end of the year culmination for you, and then reset for next year, probably.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, go to Q school, get it figured out, and then come down to Florida and just start going. I'm going to go to the Sony again. That's I was close this year, close last year. It's a tournament that's so much fun to go to. I think that's one of these days I'm gonna have I'm feeling a breakthrough in that one.
Yeah.
Just kind of it'll be day to day figuring it out. I gotta redo the schedule a little bit just to see
what's actually happening, right?
What's actually going to be available and how many spots are going to be available, and so it's all dependent on what this COVID stuff does too. And
yeah, well, make sure you leave a little space for a couple of rounds with me up north this summer. We'll have to play Arcadia or Manitou or something like that.
Oh, dude. Well, let's just make it like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday thing.
I love it. We'll have to do it.
We'll get the first tee time.
When you go out to Sony, do you play Waikiki Country Club? Isn't that where it's at for the qualifier?
So, the qualifier is at Ho'olake Country Club,
Oh.
and it's sick. I ran into Bill Murray there actually this last year. Yeah, so it was actually hilarious. The guy's a clown. But you go out there, and usually the qualifiers are never on the course that the tournament's on.
Yeah.
So I stayed right in downtown Honolulu, and then that's kind of a central point, and then drove to Ho'olake, which is on like the west side of Pearl Harbor.
That's
So
awesome.
it's all like everything's all really close by, but it's such a cool event. The qualifiers and the course for the qualifier is amazing. And then I went and watched, like when I didn't make it, I went to the Wednesday's Cracks round and went and walked Wailea.
Yeah.
That place was so sick.
That's awesome.
It's such a good place.
Yeah, a few summers ago, I was out in Maui and I played Kapalua, and that course where they do the Tournament of Champions, that course is insane.
Yeah, it looks incredible. Like
It's ridiculous.
hoping the near future I'll be able to play in something like that. So.
For sure. Cool. So moving into rapid fire questions. This is something we thought that would be a cool segment. Just a couple questions. Pick your brain. See what's going on. So let's go. Let's start with number one. Favorite game to play with your buddies on the course.
Wolf.
Yeah. Favorite drink while playing golf.
Tequila soda. That's an easy one.
Nice.
Get
Not a
some tequila
transfusion.
going.
Yeah.
No, if I like tequila a little bit more, it would be just straight tequila. But need to cut it a little bit.
Last time you didn't break 80.
First round of Q school.
Favorite course you ever played down in Florida.
Stream Song. I played there a couple weeks ago. It was amazing.
Which
that
course
was
did
one of
you
my
play?
favorite courses.
Where is that down in Florida?
So it's like an hour east of me, like literally in the middle of
It's
nowhere.
in the middle of nowhere. But they have, which course did you play? I know that they have a couple.
They have 3. I played the black course.
That's the one I
The
played
other
when I was there,
club.
too. That
Yeah.
course is so
Black
nice.
was great, man.
Yeah,
Dude, it was so good. That back nine was something, man.
yeah. It's gorgeous.
Ripped it apart, but it was so good. Like, it was so much fun.
Love that. Best club in your bag. Your favorite club ever.
Putter.
Lowest round ever posted.
63.
Woo!
I got
Damn.
2.
Where was it?
Got one of them at Wascawan out in my club for college, our home course. And then I have the course record at my club down here. I shot 63 with 11 birdies and a double.
That is ridiculous,
Damn.
bro. 11 birdies.
11 birdies and a double.
That's ridiculous.
It was, what hole was it? It was like 13. Yeah, it was 13. Just a lazy tee shot. And I was, what was that? 8 under going into it. 7 under going into it. Made double. And then birdied like 4 of the last 5.
Oh my gosh, that's ridiculous.
But
So
yeah, go for it.
If you had a handicap, what would you be? Would you be like +3, +4?
I'd probably be around about like a +5 to +5.5, something like that. When we play with the members, like me and the other pros, we're just like, we're all +4s. But at our club, I think we're all playing closer to like +5s, maybe almost +6.
That's ridiculous.
So once you get to know, of course, it's, you get
Yeah.
to just have some fun with it. But
When you're ripping
yeah.
36 a day, you know where you've been to pretty much every spot.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, exactly. And it's fun. Our club hosts an invitational for like the top, amateur college golfers, and they bring them all down here. And like winter is normally like 2-3 under par for like 4 rounds, and like the guys are like, scores is easy. Like, why aren't they like 12, 15 under or something? But, then our other buddy, he's an amateur still, plays it, and he goes, "Oh, I blow it 40 mile an hour and it's cold. It's New Year's Day. It's like," so I'm like, all right, well, okay. I guess that would make sense.
What did kids say? This ain't no hobby. Didn't he say that?
Oh, Kisner, yeah. This ain't no hobby, boys.
That's hilarious.
Absolutely, man.
And then who is your favorite PGA Tour player? Like, who's the guy you look up to or you enjoy watching?
Justin Thomas, hands down. He's my favorite player. Yeah, he's someone that I aspire to be. I have like as someone that is like around the same age as us. Like, guy's incredible. Knows like probably the best iron player I've ever seen. I love seeing him hit driver. And he's got pretty silky short game. But
yeah, he's one of Cecco and I's favorite as well. Kind of flies under the radar sometimes with the bigger guys and his injury in the last couple of years. But he's the man. I really like him. Every time he's interviewed, I like him even more. But really wanted to thank you for coming on, Winton. I appreciate it, and we'll definitely have you on again. Good luck with all your events, and we'll play this summer.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, appreciate it. I was happy to do it.
Awesome. Talk to you soon, man.
Yeah, no problem.